Hello again. Welcome back to session 3 of today's workshop. This session is going to be an opportunity for us to have a look at online classes at UNIST. Professors at UNIST will share their teaching experiences of online teaching today. Let us start the third session with Professor Jaiyong Lee, our Vice President of UNIST. He will give us an overview of UNIST online classes conducted last spring semester. Please welcome Vice President Jaiyong Lee. The title of his talk is Overview of UNIST Online Lectures. Please.
Thank you. Today, I'm going to talk with the title New Normal of Education in the Post-COVID-19 Era, based on the experience of UNIST online education. And I'm going to share the UNIST online education experience of last semester, while we had the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So based on this experience, let's think together how and why we have to change and prepare for the future education in the continuing the COVID-19 situation. Okay, the agenda is as follows. Okay, the UNIST has been pursuing its educational goal to cultivate the students to be creative professionals, integrated lecturers, intellectuals, and independent world leader who had the core competencies just like the creative planning ability or global leadership and etc. For this purpose, UNIST is operating, many various curricula and non-curricular programs to achieve this education goal. But as you know, there has been a big challenge in our traditional education paradigm, that is the fourth industrial revolution. Unfortunately, however, we have to face another much bigger challenge, the COVID-19, before we respond to this new challenge. So in this presentation, I'd like to ask two questions and think about these two questions with you. In the first one is, what will be the new normal of education change? And the second is, what do we have to prepare for this new normal of education in the era of the fourth industrial revolution and post-COVID-19? So first of all, let's briefly review the issues raised in the last semester in UNIST. Maybe not only the UNIST, but every other university also had this kind of problem. The first issue was that classes could not be operated according to the syllabus as announced. We cannot follow the teaching schedule, we cannot follow the homework project quiz, and we have to find a way to take the midterm and final exam through the online. And finally, we have to think about the grading schemes. So assessment schemes, because of the syllabus became different as announced. And second thing is we have to have the smooth operating on online education system. So the first thing we have to think about that is the online education platform, whether to choose Blackboard or Zoom or others. And because many students are in many places, in many locations, and professors may also some many different places, so we have to think about the accessibility of internet connection. And some students or some professors may not have the camera or mic devices, so we have to think about how to making the classroom without any problem with the online system. So, and next one is we have different classes of the classes, and especially some classes like experimental lab or capstone design or design courses. They are usually performed through the face-to-face. So how to change these classes into online? That was the big question. And more importantly, in the classes, in the traditional classes, we have some, communications can be performed through from between the students and faculty or student to student. But how can you manage this communication in the online platform? And as I show you in the first slide, to cultivate the student with various of kind of the core competencies, we need to operate non-curricular program. So how to change that kind of non-curricular curriculum program with the online platform. Also, we UNIST have about 10% students are the international students. So how to solve the problems international students who are in their countries, and also how to manage the international program. So these kind of issues were raised in the beginning of our online program. Okay, this shows the number of courses and number of the students in the spring semester. And also, if you see this slide, we can see some different types of classes. Some classes is majorly on theory type class, and maybe some classes maybe are the theory and practice, and some experiment or some seminar classes for undergraduate and graduate courses. So the number of courses we opened in the spring semester was about over 632 exactly. And the number of students who take those courses are the 18,000. Okay, so to operate those classes in online and in the spring, we have to think about various kinds of support, because professors and students and the administrative team, experienced this kind of the pandemic situation for the first time, and we have to think about how to operate online education, entirely on online education in the first semester. Okay, so our online education operation support team worked very hard, and they provide the online education guidelines, and they open some online class operation workshop, and sometimes we prepare the online classroom, because some professors were not ready at the time about some the hardware devices like a headset or some cameras like that. So we had to have the online classroom be ready, and also to support some professors who do not good at in using the online platform. We have to assign some staff for online classes. So those are some efforts shown by our online education operation support team. Okay, and next slide shows that some how the exams are evaluated. As I mentioned, we have three types of classes: theory, and theory with practice, and experimental classes. And you can see here, various kinds of the evaluation schemes have been used in every exam. If you see in the final exam, you can see the real-time online test has been selected for many professors. About 20% of the courses opened, they took the real-time online tests rather than the homework and some other ways. And one thing you can notice that sometimes there is no exam, right? Okay, and let's see then how the students and the professors felt about these online courses. Okay, so we did the survey, this online course operation, to the students and faculties. For the students, we surveyed from the undergraduate and graduate students. For the faculties, we asked the professors and also TA. And the survey was performed for 1 week after the final exam. So, and as you see in this slide, about 13% of the students responded. About 660 students answered to these questions, and about 20% of professors who taught in that first semester answered. About 95 faculties answered to these surveys. Okay, and so let's see some statistics. Okay, in the survey we asked the questions on course experience of the last semester, and also we asked the questions then for the next semester. The first question was about the pace of the lecture, whether the pace of the lecture in online was similar to that of the offline case. As you see in this graph, although there is somewhat disagreement, there is somewhat disagreed portion, about 15% in the faculty response. Okay, so if you see the faculty response, some professors do not agree on the pace of the lecture, comparing with the offline class. But mostly, faculty mostly gave some positive answer. Okay, so and the second question is whether the amount of self-study required to student is similar to that of the offline. You know, it's very interesting that the student answer shows the equally divided result. Okay, about 0.5% of the student didn't spend much time, but half of them, spend a lot of time. So, how about the professors, faculty's response to the students' response? Okay, faculties thought that students spend much time for self-studies, although it was the online. Okay, isn't it interesting? Okay, so it seems that faculty believes students. Okay, and next slide is whether there is a sufficient or enough opportunity to question and answer for students and faculties. The result is somewhat different from what we expected, because we thought the communication scheme between professors and between students and among students in online class is not enough. But as you see in the graph, about 70% of the students and faculty responded that they had enough opportunities for the Q&A. So I think we can think this is about the opportunities, not the schemes. If we asked about the schemes of the question and A is enough, maybe they could not answer in this way. But we asked about the sufficient enough opportunities for Q&A. So they're somewhat different, but anyhow, this shows a very good, the outputs. Okay, next one is concentration on online course. Okay, so the result for students shows divided into two, class. So about 50% could not concentrate on the online course, but about 50% could concentrate on the online course. About the faculties, the related questions to professors, whether the professor spend much time as much as that of the offline class. And it seems that professors spend more time in online than the offline classes. So, professors, it seems that professors gave a lot of effort to the preparation of the course. Okay, and next is about the course satisfaction for each subject type. Okay, for each theory class, about 70% in the first column, 70% of the student faculty satisfied with the course offered online. But the courses in experimental courses and with some courses with the practice. And I think the faculties did not satisfied with the online platform when they offer some kind of the experimental class. But some students agreed on they did not give any complaint on the theory with the practice class. So it's somewhat different, the results, but mostly then we need a way to provide some schemes in the other classes, other types of classes like the experiment or theory with the practice. Okay, and this is the, we also asked about the difficulties or any issues about online course environment. Students point out, and the first in the internet environment, internet access problem, about 32%, and also they mention about the lack of colleagues communication mechanism, about 24% of the students mentioned about this communication problem. And about faculties also they mention the about the Q&A, limited Q&A. That means some communication schemes or time, about 21%. And also they complain about internet access too. And other commonly issues raised by student and faculty were the difficulty interacting with the student and faculty, and also assessment ways of the final grades. And other minor issues raised by students were the cheating issues and some time difference zone for international students. Okay, this part is about second semester. The CDC, which is a Korea Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they classify the status of the disease into 3 cases. Stage 1 is of social distancing. Stage 2 is the enhanced social distancing, and some stage 3. And for the stage 1 and stage 2, we asked what will be the appropriate teaching method. As you see in this slide, student and faculty all agreed with the online class, complete online class. Although some mention about using the parallel online-offline class. So it seems that the online class do not have any problem. Okay. And okay, let's see some implications of survey and experience. Right, student, faculty are used to online education problem. So we come to have confidence the online education can be a good candidate for the future education, because student and faculty, about 1/3 of the students, faculty agree to online platform in the second semester. And another thing is that we need to find course types for adopting appropriate hybrid parallel on-offline platform. So in UNIST, we are going to operate the hybrid and parallel online on-offline classes next semester. For example, For large groups, more than about 30 or 50, we are going to operate a complete online class. For the small groups, less than 30, if we have enough space, then we keep the rules and we can have the offline class. And for the experimental lab, we can assign an intensive 2 or 3 weeks offline at the end of the semester. And for the parallel platform, we need to establish the virtual class. So we need a tracking camera, mixing mic, or sharing board, etc. And another implication is that we need a more efficient communication tools for student and faculty. And we found that like a Mentimeter or Miro or Slack or KakaoTalk or VRAR, they can be a good candidate for the more efficient communication tools. All right. And also, if we are going to operate through the online, we can make use of other diverse existing contents like a StarMOOC, MOOC, or YouTube, or others, especially in the basic courses or in programming courses. Okay, and another thing, if we are going to adopt a hybrid parallel on offline education platform, then we need to prepare for the experimental lab and design, capstone design courses. And we have to study more on the evaluation criteria for SNU or letter grade, and how to operate non-curriculum program and international programs. Okay, those are some implications that we have to think about if we are going to take the hybrid parallel on offline platform. Okay, so I can talk about. Let's talk about some conclusions. In the post-COVID-19 era, in the beginning, I asked 2 questions. What will be the new normal of education change? The answer, as you know, is using hybrid parallel on offline education platform. That will be the new normal of education. Okay, then what do we have to prepare for the new normal of education? Maybe we need some digital education environment and teaching and learning methods and strategies to implement hybrid parallel on offline education platform efficiently. And as I mentioned before, we need to study assessment of students' learning outcomes based on the new normal. And I think this is most important. We need to establish individual learning analysis to support personalized learning. Okay. Then in UNIST, we are going to develop ALPS, which is Adaptive Learning Portfolio System. So we can support the personalized learning for each student. Okay, this is I'm going to finish with this final statement. Okay, let's work together to change first for responding to the new normal of education. Then we can cultivate the talented students first in the coming post-COVID-19 era. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Lee. I think some are giving applause, yes. Seems like, and as we hear his talk, it seems like it was, it seems like yesterday that March was starting, and then we were very confused, and then we were just, waiting to see what's gonna happen. And then eventually we adopted a fully online class. And then there were so many things to do because it was really new for a lot of people. And I think, but because of university's full support and both professors and staff members' hard work, I think we, accomplished a lot of things that probably Vice President Lee has summarized for us. And then we hope that this support from UNIST will continue as well.